This is called Acknowledgement, 1964, and it's the title gets its name from a section of the John Coltrane song, "A Love Supreme." This is my father's favorite poem in the English language, which, after I read this, you will not be able to understand why. Acknowledgement, 1964. Could have gone west, could have packed your things, who cares that you weren't old enough to drive? Could have sold yourself to truckers and highwaymen, could have gone down the dark road between home and somewhere better, the whole world watching TV and no one thinking of you. Could have got lost, could have said, "I don't know," when the waitress asked, "Where you live at?" You could have lied and said New Jersey or Mobile. Of course, that assumes you'd get past Mason-Dixon. You could have seen battlefields, Gettysburg, Fredericksburg, even Chicago, if you waded deep enough into summer, could have slept with your head on the ground like your sister, her ear to the transistor, listening to, "I want to hold your hand." You could have said, "Fuck the Beatles," and left them behind, shooting the lights out of every stadium, every coliseum. You could have made the girls scream because you were the stranger under the bleachers, that ember of the cigarette burning in the darkness just beside the porch light's glow. You could have named them, Helen, Rochelle, Ida Mae, and in Texas, Irene Rosenberg, a girl just as lonely as you. Imagine. You're leaving before it ever got started. Where's that girl you married? You don't know. You were halfway to Billings or Provo or Bend. You watched the cities of the Midwest burn. You threw bottles and never cut your hair. Remember the drum kit and Schlesinger's instruments, how you crawled through the broken window and banged away in the shards of that city? If they could have seen you then, all muscle and heart, sweating, no more stupid melody holding you back, just the bass line, just the gas line hissing, and your foot on the pedal, you could have gotten away. The country was different. A boy could walk without getting beaten beyond an inch of his life, without getting lashed to a fence in God-forsaken Wyoming. Why, God hadn't forsaken Wyoming or Birmingham yet. Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner all safe in their beds. Perhaps you passed by them. You could have passed me by and saved yourself the whole mess. My mother doesn't know you yet. She's on her back in the grass with some other man's son. I wrote this first book of poems all about my mother, and I thought, I'll never write another poem about my mother. And then I wrote all these poems about my mother. A Love Supreme. You beautiful broke-back horse of my heart. Proud, debonair, not quite there in the head. You current with no river in sight. Current as confetti after parades, you small town, Italian ice shop next to brothels, beside the highway, sweet and sweaty. You high as a kite coming down, you suburban sprawled all over the bed. You dead? Not nearly, not yet. A Love Supreme. Breathless in the backwoods, backlit by what joy could hold you, I see you, naked as stripped wire, all coiled against the quarryman's hands. You dance the polecat dance. I lay by the tires unseen. I crawled here, sniffing the ground for clues. Bloodhound, girl, child, rooting you out. Get gone, you'd say. No way, ma mère. I love you like Elvis loved pistols, stroking you in the television light, the possibility of all that music, better than all the stages in the world. Girl, you keep rocking just like so. I'll go down river and catch you a fish with my dirty hands. No man can contain the love I have for you, nor the rapt attention. Take my hand. Take my whole life, too. I've slicked my hair back. I've made myself a boy for you. Boxers are amazing. There's a lot of boxing in this book. My editor said to me, how many boxing poems can the American public take? And then we endeavored to find out. It turns out quite a few. But they have remarkable names, and they say things like, Michael Spinks got a little cocky, and I had something for him. If I could say things like that, I'd be so happy. Boxers in the key of M, as in marvelous and macho, as in Leon's younger brother Michael, a name I learned in Catholic school, Saint Michael of the mat, of the left hook and the deafening blow, of teeth glistening as they made their arc to the laps of women sitting ringside. You don't like to see a man get knocked out cold? Then you've never lived in Hartford, or any town of broken windows. Have you ever gotten hit, or thrown against a wall? There's a sweetness to it. That moment when your God would forgive you anything. One punch, free as yesterday's papers. Marvelous, the way his body moved on the TV screen. And me? I moved around the room, bobbed and weaved. I learned to hold my breath so I could fight with my head held underwater.